comes to achieving goals, and women are not the same as, even though a lot of people started a movement where they want to be treated like men or have equal opportunities, but I believe we need to honor our uniqueness as women, our unique attributes and characteristics, things that make us the people we are. And sometimes that means we are not going to be able to. Sometimes that means our inability to do some things that men do them. A lot of women struggle when it comes to entrepreneurship, or they feel second to men because we are trying to do things like men. And the truth is, you cannot beat men at being men, right? Another thing is that a lot of women are learning lessons on entrepreneurship, business, leadership, and all of that from men. And these men only get to teach you how they do it. They get to share their experiences and teach you their own methods. And at the end of the day, you as a woman implementing some of these strategies and methods may put you in a compromising situation where you begin to push yourself to burnout because you cannot operate on the same level. Now, this has resulted to women finding themselves in very compromising, hurting their health, their well-being, and even the important relationships in their lives, where they are powerfully in relationships because they are on the go like men. And this is affecting us. A lot of women are experiencing a lot of health complications that is as a result of stress. And this stress comes from us as women, high achieving women, or going about achievement like men. How can we begin to live better as women where we are tuning into our femininity and leading from there, not acting like men? Because you'll find that a lot of women, when they are in those decision-making positions and trying to work to create certain results, they are operating more in their masculine energy. And you discover that these women tend to go into partnerships, into relationships with men who are more feminine inclined, and this creates an imbalance because she will be expected to do things that are not naturally her role or things that she should be doing. Now, to throw more light on this and discuss further, I have a guest with me today who would be shedding more light on this and some of the challenges that women experience when it comes to achieving their goals, when it comes to their entrepreneurial pursuits or their leadership responsibilities, how they are able to create that balance or integration, as the case may be, and get the support they need to help them show up better for their work, to achieve their goals, and to, at the end of the day, create the vision. My name is Jamila Idris, and I help high achievers like you create a meaningful and fulfilling life by creating alignment, harmony, and deep connections. And with me is Nafisa Idris of Uzoza Signature. Hello and welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for honoring my invitation. Now, I understand that you've been in business for over a decade now, and you have experienced some highs and lows, and you have some experience to share with other female high achievers who are struggling to create a balance in between their life, their personal life, and their work life, or rather create an integration between their personal life and their work life while leveraging on their emotions as women. What are some of those experiences you've had, and what are those strategies you've used over time to help you show up better in your business and personal life?
All right, so first off, I strongly believe that marrying the right spouse for you that understands you and understands your plans for yourself and keys into your vision takes you halfway into whatever you're trying to build as a brand for yourself or for a business. Because when you marry someone who actually keys into your vision and knows where you want to be or how much you want growth for yourself, then it is easier for your spouse to help you grow and achieve what you need to achieve. In the sense that if you can't key into something you don't understand, your spouse has to understand what you want and how much you want what you want. If you keep saying you want something and you don't show people around you that you want that thing, it means you don't want it. And so for somebody to be able to help you achieve what you need, you have to be able to communicate or show the person how much you want that thing. So that way your spouse is now able to step in support-wise where he needs to, because he knows when communicating he would understand where you're lacking and where you need help. He would know where you need push and where you need a hard push and where you need a tender push. He would know when you need words of support and where you need physical support, which makes your relationship with your spouse work out better. As a woman, we can't achieve a lot when we are not mentally stable. We have to be mentally and emotionally sound to achieve whatever we need to achieve. So as high achievers, a lot of high achievers tend to want to close that part where they need somebody to balance them mentally. I think the key there is not to close the area of you that is vulnerable to your spouse. It is easier when it is communicated. When you communicate and your spouse understands your emotions and your emotions helps you to get your emotions in check, it is easier for you to become mentally and emotionally stable. Because like it or not, as women, we can achieve a lot because our mind is wired differently from that of a man. We can withstand a higher amount of focus and pain and pressure compared to a man. A man works differently from us. A man is focused at, I want to do this, and that is the only thing on his mind, and he is going to achieve that. As a woman, we are not wired that way. We are wired differently. Maternal instinct kicks in. Our family, we care much more about family because, like it or not, we've been wired to be more emotional. We've been wired to be more nurturing. So, nevertheless, we can have that play out to our advantage, whereby we're able to juggle more than one thing at a time. We're able to juggle our marital life, our emotional life, our professional life, and still attain success. In the sense that we know what we want, we are very, very focus driven. And once we set our mind at something, there is no pressure, there is no dissuasion, there is no instability that can change our course. All we have to do is to know what we want. We only need a balance, which is why the spouse, you have to get your emotional relationship right with your spouse so that does not serve as a distraction. If you get distracted in that aspect, then a lot of things can easily sway out. But the moment you get that on lockdown, striving to your focus becomes much.
Thank you for sharing that. And I would like to re-emphasize a point you made about marriage. What about situations where it didn't seem like they were marrying right, or they thought they were marrying right, but then they get into the relationship and discover that that person is not really right for them? What are some of those things that you feel high achieving women need to put into consideration when making a decision on a spouse, and how did that play out for you in your relationship?
All right, I like to say I marry right. I think if you don't marry right, it is not the end of the world. At the end of the day, there was a reason why you both got married. You both saw each other in a different light, other than whatever is happening at the said time. So the major thing is to be able to key into that person you both were at that time. Retrace your steps, get it right on track, get it back on track rather. In the sense that however you were before you got married, that is why they keep saying marriage is not a destination, it is a process. A process in the sense that at every instances something happens. However you deal with that will determine the next course of action. So if it turns out that things are not aligning as you would have expected, it is very important to be able to retrace your steps, get back to where you both shared a vision once, and then begin to build up from there. Understand why he's not keying into what you're selling, and you also be open enough to understand that you can't sell everything to him. He's a whole being before you got into the picture. So try to sell what you want to the best of your ability, by actions and by words. By actions and by words in the sense that he sees you striving to become that person. By words, you're explaining why you need to become that person. You're not becoming that person just for him. You're becoming, or rather just for yourself, you're becoming that person so you can become a better wife to him, so you can become a better mom to your children. Once you're able to attain your highest potential, you become a better wife, you become a better mother, you become a better person to everybody around you, his family, your friends, everyone basically. And no man would not want that. Everybody wants to live a happy life. Do you get? Provided he wants to be happy, he would definitely key into seeing you happy so he can be happy. Yeah.
So what about situations where we have people who are thinking about getting married and they just want to get married as an escape, right? Like right now they are in an environment that does not support them. Let's say they just finished school and they are trying to build a business for themselves, but their parents want them to get a job and just live a very regular life. What happens when this type of person just sees marriage as an...
I think you have to pray to marry right. That is just it. Because when you see marriage as an escape, it can work in two ways. It can work to make you better or make you worse. Make you better or worse does not have anything to do with you per se. It has more to do with the person you're marrying. If the person you're marrying is inclined to see you grow, is inclined to see you become a better person, then your escape has worked to your benefit. But if the person you're marrying does not care, maybe he's also escaping from God knows what, nobody is helping each other at that point, because he's not even coming with 100, he's coming with less than who he's supposed to be, and you're also coming with less than who you're supposed to be. So the best thing at this point is to just pray you are marrying right.
I like what you said about having something we key into. My videos, I made mention of how important it is to get into a relationship or build a partnership with somebody who you have a similar vision and values with, because people don't fight, values clash.
Yeah.
So I believe, to build on your point, when people marry somebody who has a similar value with them or who has a shared vision with them, it becomes easy for it to work.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it still comes back to us having shared values and vision.
True.
So that we can bring our own mess together and then make it something beautiful. So I would like to thank you for shedding more light on this. I would like you to recommend a few things that you would like single high achievers to pay attention to when it comes to choosing a spouse.
First off, I would always tell people you can't change somebody. You can only help somebody rediscover themselves. Rediscover themselves not on their own, they're rediscovering themselves with you in the picture. So that means they're rediscovering themselves to suit you and them, but they're not changing themselves to become somebody who they're not. When you understand that you can't change anybody, then it gives you a clearer space to work from, in the sense that you now understand, okay, can I tolerate this? I'm seeing this attitude in this person. Is this something I can live with? Bearing in mind that whatever you see in a relationship before marriage is like a magnifier. It would elaborate whatever you see, whatever has been shown to you. In a relationship, we tend to want to become better people just so that we keep the fire in that relationship going. But when you're married to somebody, you tend to relax. You tend to let your real self come to light. So whatever you cannot deal with in a marriage and you begin to see it in a relationship, and for you to pull back. Whatever business or whatever trade you're in, make sure your spouse or the person you want to get married to understands the intricacies of that craft. For example, you are a coach and your coaching might need you talking on long hours or overdue. If your spouse in a relationship is uncomfortable with you being on the phone for a long time, it is not going to change when you get married. It is something he's not comfortable with. If he understands why you're doing what you're doing and he's ready to accommodate that part of you, fine and good. But if he has shown you over and over and over again he's not comfortable with you spending that much time talking to people or on the phone, then there is really, it just tells you that your values are not aligned. And things like that are not things you can change. It is not in his person to agree with you. You can't force anybody, just like he can't force you to stop being a coach. You also cannot force him to like you being a coach.
It is
a decision he has to make. Then however, if he loves you enough to accommodate or to grow, to learn, to let you spend that much time, it now makes it easier because he loves you. And love in marriage is not the love we call every day. Love in marriage is all encompassing. It is a forgiving love, it is an understanding love, it is love with empathy. Loving because you want to see that person be better, because you want to see that person become better. If he has that level of love for you, then you can sell anything to him and he will buy it because he loves you and he wants you to become better.
Thank you for bringing the concept of love into it, because a lot of people will tell you things like you shouldn't make a decision like marriage based on emotions and emotion.
Yeah.
But emotions drive us as humans, especially as women.
Yeah.
Now, what about situations where somebody from outside, they seem like, they love you enough to embrace whatever it is you're doing and all of that, and they're showing you some change, and then you go in and it's not the case, or the change. How should women go forward from there? What are your recommendations?
Okay, I think we'll have to understand something too. Marriage is made up of compromises. As a woman or as a man in a marriage, you have to be willing and ready to compromise. Meaning, I like this about you, but I am not comfortable with this part. How can we reduce this part of you and increase my love on this part? That way, you get to reach a balance. Bringing your coaching experience now as an example back. He can come to you and say, okay, instead of spending 4 hours at night talking to your clients, how about you do that when I'm at work? That way you're not eating into our time as a family. So a compromise would come in at that point. So you now have to communicate to your clients, okay, this has to be my working hours from this time to this time. Bearing in mind that he has not stopped you from doing what you want to do. But he's looking for ways to not let what you're doing hurt him and the relationship you both are in. So at the end of what I'm trying to just say here is, in cases like this, a compromise has to be met because you're already in the marriage. Nobody prays to go into a marriage and to get divorced at the end of the day. We have to try all there is we can before thinking about separation, before even thinking about a divorce. So as much as possible, we have to try out everything there is, from love to compromise to empathy, before we say things are impossible in marriage.
Thank you for emphasizing the fact that we need to exhaust every option before we decide to throw in the towel.
Yeah.
Now, we experience one of the problems that a lot of successful high achieving individuals experience is perfectionism, especially with women, where we feel like nobody else can do it as good as we can, and then we are busy with work, we have other things to do, and at the end of the day we are exhausted that we don't even have enough time to take care of ourselves. So what are some of those strategies you've used over time to ensure that you are delegating some responsibilities and also outsourcing some tasks to other people who have the capacity and specialization to help you manage them?
So as a high achiever, you can never underestimate the power of delegation and asking for help. Asking for help is not like you cry for help, but you're asking for help before you cry for help.
I like that.
Do you understand? Exactly. So that as little as getting the house cleaned, you should know your capacity. You should know, you should even know yourself well enough to know when you need help. Because when you don't know yourself well enough to know when you need help, that is when you begin to experience burnout. Before burnout comes in, there are signs your body shows you, there are signs your mind shows you. So once you know yourself well enough, you tend to protect yourself from experiencing a burnout. Personally, I tend to delegate things that I don't consider really important for me to do. For example, cleaning the house. Anybody can clean the house. I don't have to clean the house for the house to clean the house even better than I would. But nobody can make my bed as much as I want to. So other people can do other things while I make my bed or clean my room the way I want to. Do you understand? So at the end of the day, nobody's going to give you an award for who walk past the most struggling woman. It doesn't exist. So we have to understand that we don't have to do everything. We might be able to do everything, but we don't have to. If you have children, you can't be everything to your child. That is why God made provision for a child in a marriage where two people exist, because it is not a job for one person. So if I know for some women, their husbands want them to be the one who cooks their food for them every day. That is very fine. You can cook, but you can have other people prepare the things you would need to. How the pepper is sliced or how the onion is sliced or diced, it doesn't change the taste of the food. What he's eating is the food which he wants you to prepare. But have other people do other things that will make your life easy at that point, so that you can be more productive, you can be more present in other meaningful things. Because it doesn't make any sense when you have to work yourself out, cleaning, cooking, doing school runs and all of that, and you're not present in your child's life or you're not present in your husband's life. They need you present in those aspects. In fact, they need you more present than cooking for them. You are more important than that food. Your absence hits more than when there is no food, because you can always get food anywhere, but you can't get you anywhere. So I think we just have to remember that always.
Thank you for pointing out the need for us to have a deep sense of awareness, to know those things that we really, really need to do, those things that require our attention, our expertise, our skills, our talents, and our time. Because truly, at the end of the day, not everything that needs to be done by us. And just because you can do something doesn't mean you should be doing those things. As a woman, you can probably change a tire, but it doesn't mean you should be changing the tire. And how important is it for a woman to seek help and support from her husband, especially when it comes to managing the home front?
That is really important. Now let's take it away from what you're going to achieve on your own. How is it going to tell on your children? Because you want your children to understand that it is okay to have a father that can clean, to have a father that can take care of them as children, not just providing money. That in turn will tell on your daughters and your sons, or your daughters in the sense that when your daughter grows and she's in a relationship with a man that has refused to do the basics in support, she knows it is wrong because she has seen her father do those things. On the son's part, when he sees he's in a relationship with a woman, he doesn't see it as a woman's duty to cook and clean and do everything for him. He knows that to be a respectable spouse means you have to contribute to your quota. You have to support the person you're in a relationship with. So it is not just about your productivity at this point. It is about what you want to pass down to your children. Because like it or not, our productivity without passing anything to people, whether our intellect or our children, what we impact on our children, is nothing. If you come through life and you only you're only rich in money without being rich in impact. You have not achieved everything. So you have to be able to balance both. You have to be constantly be reminded that whatever you do, yes, you're achieving something, but you also have to remember that you're going to leave an impact. So that keeps you in check too.
Thank you for mentioning the impact part, because this is why I am doing the work I do to help high achievers not just accumulate wealth, rather accumulate riches, but for them to be able to live a meaningful and full and fulfilling life where they feel impacted, where they are able to impact other people and at the same time function healthily in all the other aspects of their important relationships. And while at it, they don't compromise their well-being at the same time. So you made mention of a very key point, which is compassion. Where we are compassionate to the people we're in a relationship with. How has this played out for you? Can you share some of those experiences you've had where your spouse shone and you felt really taken care of?
A lot of times.
Share 5.
Okay. First off, whenever I begin to feel overworked, not burning out now, not burnt out, overworked, I let my spouse know, hi, I'm feeling under pressure at this point. And he will always just say, okay, tomorrow what do you have? If I really don't have anything pressing to do, he will just tell me to stay in bed. And I will be in bed from daybreak till the next day break. The only time I would leave my bed is to go use the restroom and to go have my bath. But my food, my phones, everything will be provided for on that bed. He won't just do it alone, he will do it with my children. So they now know that at some point, everybody needs to rest. And when I'm in that state, everybody knows that is mommy's resting time. My children don't disturb because they understand the importance of rest. So there are days they too come back tired and they just say they need to rest. And they just go and sit on bed, doing nothing, just resting. That is one. Another way he does it is when I have a lot to do and I have a lot of moving around to do, you would always see my husband driving me around. Not that my husband does not even work in the same town I am in, but he makes himself that available, because if I don't operate at my best, I can't be the best to him. Do you understand? So he always makes sure that I am delivering at best capacity. Now, I'm not saying this and making it look like I'm enslaving my husband, because I also do same to him. Because he does not work in the town I'm in. When he goes out of town, he comes back. If he has anything to do, I would also drive him around. I'll also give him days off that he's just sitting and doing basically nothing. So that is how much compassion you have to have in a marriage. You have to understand when to step in for the other person. You have to understand that you can't both deliver at 100 all the time. But you would want to deliver at 100, but you can't deliver at 100 all the time.
Try to deliver at 100.
You should try. Okay, basically in a marriage, you should both try to deliver at 100, but in reality, you can't both deliver at 100 always. So the compassion now comes in where the other person is delivering at 60, and you have to step in for that 40. That way, it works better. So you have to be able to go over and beyond, and the other person has to be able to go over and beyond.
Oof! Thank you for pointing this out. Rest. The other person is stepping in and doing, every other thing. I believe at this point we have said enough for people to. I've said a lot. In fact, enough for people to be able to take a cue from. It's important for you to rest, especially when you have children. The quality of relationship you have with your spouse becomes a blueprint for them to build their own relationships.
Exactly.
You don't want a situation where your children begin to fall for something that is bare rest minimum, and that is what is obtainable today. I like to say that my father still gives me breakfast in bed, And it sounds awkward to some people or cringe to some people, but then that is the type of household we grew up in, where we see our parents constantly doing things for each other and constantly doing things for us. When I'm going out, the other day I was going for the conference and my dad was like, they need to pay me more than I had already agreed to get, because the way I am looking is, top notch. He was gassing me out, and that gave me the confidence to face the world.
And the tricky thing about this is that everybody wants to have a good relationship. We grow up, you hear a lot of people say, my dad was so and so to my mom, so I either want to be like him or not like him. So you want to have a relationship where your children want to be like you or better than you. Because I've had my daughters tell me that they want to marry somebody like my husband. That's their father.
And that is the greatest gift.
And that is all.
Yeah. That is the greatest gift, where a daughter aspires to have a husband like her father. That is to show you how he has been. That is to show you how much he has been present in their lives, and how much of an example he is. And this is also calling out to the male high achievers. The life of your family, the life of your children, especially if you have daughters, is not just about you providing financially. There are some children who only look up to men for finances, because that is the only thing the men in their lives have exemplified. When all of them are only providing money. Our brother.
Yes, true that.
So we have men in our lives who have been very good examples, and it makes it difficult for us to settle. For us, a man calling you baby is everything. Because my dad still calls me baby.
Me too.
And
I am my dad still calls me the love of his life.
So having this type of ensuring that we are building relationships that support us as women, as high achieving women, and making the right choice in spouse is that one decision that can make or mar you. Is that one decision that can help you build your legacy, advance your vision, fulfill your purpose, or become another statistics that other people don't want to become, especially your children. We want a situation where our children see us living our best life, so that they can aspire, so they know that so they can aspire to become better, because they know that they can achieve whatever they put their heart to.
Because they see you doing it.
Because they've seen you doing it, and it does not mean that you have to let go of one part of your life to accommodate another part. So you don't have to let go of your career to get married. Or you get married and let go of your career. So I have said it a number of times on this channel that it is not an either or, it is and. You can have a thriving relationship and an amazing marriage. I like the part where you mentioned having an example in our parents when it comes to our relationships. Now, a situation where you didn't have the best example in your parents, it is important that you seek help. There are better people out there who are living amazing relationships. I would recommend you seek help so that you can walk through all those traumatic experiences you had growing up. And trauma isn't just about things that happened, it's also about things that you hoped would happen and did not happen. So you know how to channel your needs, how to really want what you really, really want, and not feel like you have to make contingencies. But you're now deciding that circle of abuse, that circle of bad relationships end with you, and you're creating a better blueprint for your own children to build on.